look at that sunrise. Here's an early morning shot outside as the sun is coming up. It's about 6:30 and I'm just going to show you the garden here. This is the big garden out back behind the house. This is what we call the big garden. And right here in front, we have some cucumbers here. And these two rows right next to that is potatoes. Our potatoes. And then all here in between is melons. There's cantaloupe and watermelon growing in here. And let me walk across here. And out here, these large plants are pumpkins. This is the pumpkin patch. Okay, and if you can see these plants here, as in this one, let's see right here, this one, these are sunflowers. Here's another one, and another one, and another. These are all planted in the center of the garden, and these are all going to come up mammoth sunflowers. Mammoth sunflowers. And now over here with many weeds is our corn. From here, there's 3 rows. I don't know if you can see it real well. This is 3 rows of corn. Let me get in between them so you can see them better. See, here it is. 3 rows of corn. 1, 2, 3. Over here is all the weeds. This is the hay field out there and beyond. But, ooh, look at that sunrise. Okay, this is what we call the big garden. We have a new row of corn coming up right here. We planted some new corn, and that would be here, all in here, along with many, many weeds. But that's going to be a brand new row of corn. It goes straight down there so that we can have a staggered crop. Now I'm going to come down to the end and go over to the other garden. Okay, so now I'm standing on the end of the garden, and that shows you the whole big garden. Down here on the end we have tomatoes, some tomatoes here on the very end. Some we just planted this weekend. And here's some that have been growing for a while. Tomatoes. And we've got some sweet potatoes in here. Sweet potatoes. They're kind of scattered all over the place, along with going up into here a few. But over here, this is the girls' clubhouse. This is what we call the small garden. And that starts here with a row of beets and some onions in front of it. And this is a whole row of beets. And this is strawberries. A whole row of strawberries, which there's not many strawberries on there because the girls come out and pick them and eat them every day. And if you can see right there, those bushy, beautiful things are the carrots. Then there's some onions in front of them and a few potatoes. This row here is going to be peppers if they ever start to grow. It takes forever for them to grow. Then there's potatoes in front of those. Alright, this whole row here, see if I can get it, with the sticks, of course, is the tomato row. And then behind that are more sunflowers, a different variety of sunflowers. But I'll walk up the tomato row. Tomatoes are looking good. But we're real excited about the sunflowers. They're going to be beautiful. Can't wait to see all these beautiful sunflowers in bloom. It's going to be magnificent. And then, of course, back behind everything is the Johnson grass, which we can't hardly control. We have to keep it back, so this little cut area with the lawnmower is just enough to keep it mowed down. But this is the last row here, which is full of many weeds, but I have flowers coming up here, and at the very end I have a new set of mammoth sunflowers, but there's marigolds right here in front. So this is what consists of the small garden. And there it is. Oh, and one smaller, even still smaller. This is an apple tree we planted last year. If you can see it, let me get away from this brush pile. That's our nasty brush pile. This is an apple tree, but around it we have some very rich soil, and Chuck cultivated it all into a little garden, and he put some sweet potatoes in here. There was a lot of manure mixed in here and a lot of composted soil. And then he's planted some buttercup squash in here too. But over here is our compost pile, which started out to be a big manure pile and a compost pile. We've been working for over a year now. And we've got asparagus planted all around it, which just started out to be asparagus plants. Then we had so many seeds coming up in the manure pile that we just started transplanting things from it. And then we let some things stay in the manure pile to grow. So this is a pumpkin, and that's a pumpkin, and there's some special tomato plants. Do you see how these tomato plants are getting double the size? Unbelievable. He put some sweet potatoes in here too, and there's several tomato plants out front of it. So we're going to have lots of tomatoes. And then over here is Mimi's garden. This is Mimi's little garden. She's got a few pumpkin plants, and she's got it decorated with a few things here. And here I'm starting some flowers. And then out front here is where we have planted our spring greens, which we've been enjoying all through the spring. We've eaten loads and loads of them. Mixed greens. These are a couple of raised beds. There's beets in here, and turnips, and collards, and Swiss chard, and spinach. Here's spinach. There's still plenty of it to eat. But at this point we're letting it go to seed. These are the seed heads, and we're going to get seed off of it. I believe this is mostly the, what do you call them, collards. And so these are the two raised beds we have out front where we grow the greens. That's what that is. And then here is a beautiful lily plant with several heads, flower heads on there that are going to bloom. I'll get pictures of that later. And then out front here we have some flowers that Gracie bought at Walmart, and she has planted for her little garden. But that's it. 2492 Whitehall Road, early summer 2009. That's our garden.